Ooh, hello. Are you sitting comfortably? And let's begin. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Praise be the spiral. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you can all hear me fine. Looks like you can. Microphone's making noises. That's good. Oh, dear. I'm not feeling too great today, so I'm only on the water tonight. Not that I drink much alcohol anyway. That is a Cecconoid reference, yes. Oh, yes, let me turn that. Sorry. I knew there was something else I needed to do. Let me turn those back on. I turn them off on the game stream nights because they're not turned on at that point. So there we go. They should all be on there. Yeah. Anyway, how's everybody doing? Hope you're all doing well. Oh, really, really not feeling great, but let's do this anyway. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. I've just got a bit of a dicky tummy today. It's just being a bit funny with me, and nothing music for Parasol Stars. Yeah, Parcel Stars. I like Parcel Stars. Parcel Stars would be a good version of it. It could be just you play Amazon drivers and you just throw parcels around because you've got to complete your parcel deliveries really fast. It's kind of like a cross between Parasol Stars and Paperboy. I'm pretty sure Paperboy was just predicting how Amazon drivers would deliver their stuff. There you go. Just do a version of Paperboy, but you're an Amazon driver, so you just drive around in an Amazon van, just throwing parcels through windows and stuff. It'd be great. All right, let me get all the interact stuff up. I don't really have anything to add tonight. I'll tell you what has annoyed me doing these. For some reason, these cases have stopped. The switches keep breaking off. They keep probably can't see very well, but they break in half now for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know if my roll of white filament has become brittle or something, which is probably what it is actually. But it's just a bit frustrating. So I think I'm going to redesign the switch component for that a little bit to make it a separate piece. I did like the fact it was built into the thing, but it's not worked. And now I've printed 3 of these, and all switches have broken on it. So unfortunately, Proton's going to have to wait another couple of days before I can ship this out. So, and then I think what I'll do is because there's only 2 more left to go, the 2 Christmas ones. I will print them ahead of time so that there's no kind of waiting around for them. I do like this version; it's pretty good. What else is there? I've already mentioned on Tuesday that I'd be giving away a game, a game of the winner's choice from Bitmapsoft on Saturday. We're going to use it as a test bed for the Marbles on Stream. So, do I usually stream on Thursdays? Yeah, I normally do Cecconoid on Thursdays, and welcome, Papademos. I normally do Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays if everything's going well. I almost didn't do it tonight because I didn't feel too great. I still don't, but there we go. Just put that there. So yeah, Tuesdays is now kind of a gaming night where I play games with my son. Thank you, Paulie Quixote, for the follow. Appreciate it. Will there be another Luna Mega 65 stream? No. All I need to do on that is change a few bits of graphics, and that's it. So I'm going to do that relatively soon. Problem is, Battlefield's coming out tomorrow, so it's unlikely I'm going to do it tomorrow. Thank you for the feel good vibes, Papa Demos. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's unlikely I'm going to get a chance to do that tomorrow because why is there a what is that? How can I see? Is that just part of the picture? I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It must be part of the picture. It's not on the background. It's weird. Maybe I've just never seen that before. After the ads in time for the thank you, no problem, and welcome along. Hope you enjoyed the stream. If you're into any kind of retro coding, you probably will. Hopefully you will anyway. Or if you're into gambling, people like to gamble on this channel. We've got little games that pop up at the bottom, and you've got this nice. Wait, what? What happened there? Oh, Andy overrode Maxis's background. That's unfortunate. So you redeemed a background, Maxis, and then Andy immediately replaced it with his, so you didn't even get to see it. So yeah, anyway, we'll be doing a Marbles on Stream test run on Saturday, and the winner of that Marbles on Stream race will have the choice of any game from the Bitmap Soft library. So if there's something you've got your eye on there, just hold off. You have a chance of winning it on Saturday, and we'll be using that method to do the PlayStation giveaway as well. Hope nobody will lose their mind. We need a joke bot, don't we? This is why we got a joke bot, because Acnavin starts starts saying things, starts making terrible jokes. Thank you for the host as well, Andy. I missed that, and thank you for the host, Prow7 as well. Yeah, I almost didn't stream tonight. Really don't feel too great, but I thought, well, no, I need to anyway. I need to get this game kind of going a little bit. It's not bad. We're in a good situation with it. I think we've got a couple of crashes on it, which we're going to look at tonight. And if we get time, we'll finish off as much of the Robotron screen as we can. We just need to kind of make a spawning system for it, and that. My message 50k. Yeah, it's coming. Don't worry. God, you're all addicts, but particularly Steps is an addict. There you go. Let me start the races for you. Why does my chat keep pausing? It's weird. There we go. Yeah, I didn't really have anything else. Think of anything? No. Yeah, so Luna will get finished at some point, but it's really I've got the I've got some kind of redrawn 16 by 16 pixel versions of the sprites now that Warlock did. Thank you very much, Warlock, for that. I'm sure he's not around yet. Probably pop on in a little bit as soon as he's in Australia. So I just need to kind of go through them and shade them up a little bit to make them use as many colors as possible. And then I just need to change the collision system to it with 16 by 16 sprites instead of 24 by 21 pixel sprites, and do some palette cycling on the text, and that's pretty much it. The game is ready to go now. I mean, it's fully functional. It just needs a few little tweaks here and there. So I could probably finish it in an hour or two sometimes. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll do a random kind of Luna 65 stream next week sometime, just to finish it off. Do the sprite work and then do a stream just to put it all together and release it, because it'd be good to get that get that out as well. And this Saturday we'll carry on with Mega 65 Art Racer as well. So all right, let's see where we were at with the code. So I seem to remember there was a crash last time. It's been 2 weeks, so I don't remember exactly what was going on with it, but let's take a look. Let me just make sure the music's off, because I don't think it is at the moment. Yeah, there we go. So immediately die. Oh, I've got no second joystick. I need to set my joystick up. Oh, I think it's because I was trying to set some stuff up with Sean, and I didn't correctly configure my joystick again. Yeah, I got controller wrong for some reason. Key set A, configure key set A. There we go. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I can collect all these again. So everything seems to be working. There was just a crash for some reason. I can't remember where the crash was now. So let's see if we can re-trigger it somehow. I might be wrong. Maybe there wasn't a crash. Maybe I'm just imagining things. I don't actually remember what. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay, so it's when when you die. Okay, that's an interesting. There was a crash. Okay, yeah. Well, I definitely found it anyway. There it is. Yeah. I mean that happened. Okay, so I'm not sure if it was. It must have been this that crashed it, I guess. Uh, bit of Nightwish. Good, good. Oh, I'm watching them in December. First time in 2 years. Missed it. They're playing at Wembley, so normally we'd be following them around the bloody world, watching them, but with the pandemic, not being able to. So we've just kind of been stuck. They did a live show. Was it back in spring? I think sometime. Can't remember exactly when it was. Live stream show that is, not a live show. It was annoyingly it was pre-recorded. It wasn't live, but they then streamed it, which kind of makes sense, I guess. But I should have died then, really, shouldn't I? Okay, let me go in here. Maybe I need to find a way to reproduce the crash every time. So if I can come in here, okay, I die. Oh, we need to put invulnerability. We need like a few seconds invulnerability as well. Oh, that was stupid because I can't get out of here now. So, okay. Let's restart. Test if it also happens on other screens. Yeah, that's what I'm hopefully going to do. So, I would like to see more series of those. So, for those who haven't been here before, the backgrounds up there, these are a mixture of kind of backgrounds that I've just kind of randomly put in there, and some series ones as well. So there's ones where the idea is you discover one, you know it's in a series, and then you have to try and work out what the connection is and work out what the other images are and discover those as well. Some of them are really hard, looking at you, Andy. Some of them are really big, looking at Gaheem. And some of them are a little bit easier. But what I'd really like to see is a few more C64 backgrounds. That'd be kind of nice. I just we've got another 3 series to get on there. Yours are never easy, Andy. Yours are quite. Oh, look at that! The decals are still around. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I wonder if it's the second death. Let's see if that's correct. Anyone can submit a series. Yeah, you just bundle together a few. They need to be. They need to have the ending .jpg. They need to be. I can't remember the exact size, but if you go for a kind of 4:3 aspect ratio, that's you can see what the aspect ratio is here basically. So if you go for that aspect ratio, um, and just try and think of a common theme that ties them all together, make it between 6 minimum. 20 is probably about as big as you want to go in the series. If you do more than 20, as Gaheem has done, it will take people forever to figure them out. So um oh yeah, Gold Sale, there we go. That was the one that Maxis discovered. And yeah, just submit them to me, and I will add them into the series as soon as add them into the background collection as soon as I can. It will happen usually on the next stream unless I forget to do the run the script which logs them all for the database. Well, I say database, it's just stored in local storage. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be related to anything just moving around. I think it's to do with dying. So let me just stand here and die again. Oh no, I died perfectly all right then. Let me die on one. No, die while shooting maybe. Yeah, that's annoying. Oh, it crashed and then reset. So the game actually reset to a point. So maybe it's just certain ones. It's not that one. Oh, that one's missing over there. Interesting. I wonder if that's because the game. because the game kind of reset at that point. That's an interest. Oh no, there you go. So that one, oh no, that blew me up all right as well. Oh, god damn it! All right, is it sprites with prime factors that crash? Who knows? Ah, there you go. Stepsers give you the exact background size. 700 by 480. Yeah, so not quite 4:3. Just actually, is that 4:3? 480. If you were to add 120 on that side, no, it's not quite, is it? But yeah, I mean, the actual image is displayed at quite a low resolution, so 700 by 480 is fine. Or like Step says, if you want to double it, that's absolutely fine. But that will avoid the clipping, because what will happen if you have something which isn't that aspect ratio, it will try and fit it horizontally, meaning that you'll get a lot of stuff clipped off the bottom. But if you have it too short, too kind of short instead of tall enough, it will clip stuff off the sides as well. So it's best to kind of supply them at the right resolution as well. But how many have we got left? Actually, we've got I don't know how many we've got left, but it's not many. 24. Yeah, like 57 or so to go. So really not that many left at all. This is Andy's new series. You've got to try and figure out. Good luck with that. But yeah, I'd like to see some more C64 game ones. So I think we've got a couple. I think there was the Andrew Braybrook series was in there. Actually, I think that's the only one. Or was there might have been a publisher one as well? I can't remember. But yeah, that would be good to see, because definitely something we'd like to see more of, especially when you guys have redeeming backgrounds at the speed that you do. Oh, there we go. There's a crash. Okay, so something about killing the player is causing that issue. I think it's to do with that and not to do with the explosions. So let's start by just not resetting the player and work our way back from that until we find out what it is. So there is like a kill player thing in here. So if I just return from that immediately, we shouldn't die then. They should just make us invulnerable. Stuff Andy took unconscious pictures of. Oh, Marilyn Manson. Oh, I think you already know what this series is, don't you? It's already the other thing with the series as well. For those who don't know, once you get to 70% of the 70% of the image is discovered. Oh, don't put the hash in there. You put a hash in there, so it thinks it's not a number. Oh, I need to deal with that. That's yeah. Go on, you can do it. Yeah. So this is a series of people that Eminem has name dropped in his tunes. We should be pretty. I mean, he name drops a lot of people, but I think it's probably the more well known ones out of all of them. All right, let's just try. Okay, so it doesn't actually seem to be the death routine. But let's try again. Let's just keep dying on these a few times. If we can rule it out, then we move on to the next step, which will be. Oh no, it probably is the death routine. Sorry, because I've cancelled that out. Hey, Crate ID. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, because these aren't causing a death, are they now? Okay, so it's something in the death routine, which is fine. So let's have a look what we've got in here. Okay, so we've got this player is dying thing. I think that's always been there. We did add this explosion in, which wasn't there before. So let's just remove that. That was the one thing that we added. So it could just be that something about the player reset and the explosions moving means that the explosions get reset while they're still being updated. So there's probably some kind of weird reference that gets changed and ends up pointing to somewhere wrong and overwriting some memory. I'm almost certain that's what's going on, so we shall see. What's this? Let me give myself more lives as well, because it's kind of difficult to do this when you've only got 3 lives. Lives. Let's give ourselves 9 lives. I think that's probably it. I'm pretty certain that's what it is, which is good because it means we can move on to we can fix that and go on to some 2 dogs and a cat for a little while. The cat would sometimes bark instead of meow. I've got a cat that bark when she's once a month she has a kind of she wants to mate basically because we've still not taken her to the vets and had her neutered, which we're going to do at some point. But she basically barks when she's like that. So she'll look at you and she'll go row, 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 like a weird little bark. It's very strange. She doesn't really meow either. She that's the only noise she makes. Well, no, she makes 2 noises. She makes this weird little bark noise when she's like that. And she makes like a chirping noise, like kind of like a cooing pigeon or something. She walks around making that noise, and then when you look at her, she'll sit down, look at you, and she'll kind of bark at you. Not an aggressive bark or anything, just a weird kind of weird little noise. But it does sound. Oh no! See, crashed there, which implies it's not that explosion. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so let's go back down to the kill play routine. So we've got drop power ups. We've got okay, let me turn that off again. Let's try and see if we can get it to crash without that on. Thank you, CB Meats, for the resub. Appreciate it. I'm only drinking water tonight, but I will cheers you with it. Cheers. Thank you very much. All goes towards the lovely prizes that we're giving away. I've decided as well that if we do, because all the prizes for Christmas have almost been paid for, with this month's Twitch, I've basically got everything paid for. If I get enough subs in December, which is likely with the PlayStation giveaway, then I'll probably do a Switch OLED giveaway in January as the first giveaway of the year. Because I do want to kind of start doing more giveaways as well. There'll be subscriber giveaways though, because they're expensive items. So, and because there won't be a competition involved in them, there will be subscriber giveaways. But it's still a good deal. I mean, you subscribe, it costs you what, £5, £4? I forget. No, it's £5, isn't it? Oh shit, I'm supposed to be dying on things. And in return, you get a chance to win a quite expensive piece of equipment. But I think what I'm going to do with the giveaways like that in future is, rather than have the item here and send it from here, is actually ship it from the country of the person that wins, and then it's not going to be too difficult to do the shipping, because shipping that PlayStation is going to cost me a fortune. I know it. Oh, thank you very much, Papademos, for the 1,000 bits. 6502 6510 for the win. Yes, indeed. Did I misspell Michelle Pfeiffer, or is she just not in there? I don't think she's in there. I said I'll pick it up. For which for which series are you on about? Are you on about the M&M series? I don't think she's in the list anyway. Right, let's try dying on a few things. So I've turned the death routine off now. So I just want to figure out what it is that's breaking in here. Okay, so yeah, nothing that time. Let's do it a bit slower this time. So let's imagine we've kind of been reset a little bit and tried again. Because I wonder if it's to do with this counter or something. Because there is a counter which is is dealing with the kind of death routine a little bit. So it could be the player is dying routine that's doing it. So, oh, I should be taking my time. All right. Okay. Nope. Okay, it's definitely this routine, but we need to figure out where. So I'm going to see if this player is dying is being used, because I wonder if something is using that in a routine somewhere. So player dying, here we go. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. And then it jumps to spawn player immediately. So so the particles get added here, which is something we did add in as well. So let's change this and remove the particles. Let's move down a little bit. So if we come to the original code, which was this one here, just change this so that we don't trigger the particles. So the particles are triggered if that value is 3F, otherwise it doesn't trigger them. Leave everything else in and see if just not triggering the particles, because particles was something else we added in as well. Have you any contact with Dartford? No, I haven't. No. Oh yeah, with the background as well. You have to wait for it to say ready up there, and then when it says ready, you've got whenever you guess, the moment the first guess comes in, you get 15 seconds. If the first guess was incorrect, then the timer will still start ticking down, and you've got 15 seconds to find one. Otherwise, it will just count down to ready again. Thanks, Cosmin. He loves it. You mean the listen command? Yeah. So Andy is the listen king, basically. I'm pretty sure he's got it macroed because he's very quick with it. Either that or his muscle memory is it's the most typed thing he's ever typed now. So okay, I think it is to do with the particles because it doesn't seem to be happening now. Which kind of makes sense because the particles do have like a very strange update sequence. Yeah, it seems to be what it is. Okay, so let's take a look again at the particle system and see why that might be happening. So let's turn the particles back on. Let's have a look. Okay, so what happens? Well, we spawn. Oh, wait, what is this? We spawn 64 particles. That can't be right. Yeah, that's way too many particles. Why are we spawning that many? I mean, that would explain a lot. 64 particles is kind of far too many. Bus stop. Okay. Isn't that on a per screen not fixed? Not for this routine, no. Oh yeah, that makes sense now because I did think there was a lot of particles when you died before, and it shouldn't be that many. Probably should be less than 16 to be honest, because I think it does it spawn in pairs here. No, it's spawning one at a time, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, so it's just spawning. Okay, that's maybe all right then. Let's play it through a little bit and wait. Have I got two windows open? That one's dead. All right. I think that was it. I think that was it. It makes sense because if it's trying to add 40 particles, it's going to run into all sorts of weird issues. And now we're not having any issues. And interestingly, it didn't spawn any particles there for some reason. Let's go and die on the laser screen as well, just to make sure that the thing is working on other screens. Oh, got sad. No. there's no countdown for the final life for some reason. So let's work our way into that other screen. Hopefully not die as many times before we get there. Also, it does seem to not want to add more particles at some point. Yeah, it's that's weird. No, still a crash. Okay, so something is causing the particle counter to not work properly at this point. It's definitely to do with this, because if we skip the particles, it works fine. So let's check the get next particle, see what's going on in that. Particles. And also check the screen count for this one as well, because I can't remember if we turn the screen total down. What screen number was that? I forgot what screen number it was now. Use some new hobby if you're going to make good front end try. So it's either that or React or something, since I don't intend to do it as a job. If we're going to do something not obvious. Yeah, React is super easy and powerful as well. So I mean, the debugger, this debugger that I do for Mega 65 is just React basically. So you could do some pretty decent stuff with it. Even if you don't want to do anything, if you just want to do it as a hobby, it's just great for kind of prototyping stuff fast, because of the way it works. It's very easy to just bolt stuff together very quickly. It's also very well supported as well. It's probably one of the most supported web frameworks out there. But it also has native, and so you can do React Native, which allows you to do Android and iOS apps, and you can combine it with something like Electron to do desktop, macOS, and Linux apps. So to answer CB Meets, this is a Mega 65 debugger. So this is just a really simple debugger that you can connect to the Mega 65 over the USB and read the memory in close to real time, and a few other things as well. Like you can have a look at the raster rewrite buffer layer and see what's going on in that as well. Also works with the emulator as well. Although I believe this is having some issues with the emulator, so I might have to do some. I can't remember if I fixed that or not. I think I did fix it actually. But yeah, it's just something I put together for working on the Mega 65. It was kind of necessary. So simple. It is pretty simple. I mean, there's not too much to it. Although it's going to improve soon, because at the moment the way this works is it reads the serial communications as if you were in. So if you go in M65 Connect, you can kind of send commands to the kind of the serial bus over the on the Mega 65, and it will return memory maps. It's the same way you can do in Vice. You can do, you can query like a block of memory and it'll print out a block of memory. And I'm basically just reading and passing that text. But I found out from Paul you can actually read serial information as well, like not serial information, binary information as well. So you can send certain commands and it will just return a binary blob to you instead. So that will help speed things up. So two things that will do. One, it means that the actual update rate of the whole thing can be improved, because at the moment what it's doing is every time it does triggers an update, there's one set of updates which are called slow updates, which only happen every other update tick, and then there's fast updates, which are ones that happen every tick. But they're sent as maybe 3 or 4 blocks of things, because I'm only reading 256 bytes at a time. But with this new method, I should be able to read the entire 64 kilobyte block in one go. And what that will do is it will allow me to, depending on the speed of the connection, I think it's pretty fast. It will allow me to do it in a single update. but also it will allow me to read graphics memory as well. So if you've got, I'll be able to add a page on here which will allow you to see the contents of memory as full color mode, as nibble color mode, and you'll be able to see what they are and kind of debug what's going on there as well. So hopefully it will improve a little bit. So thanks, Cosmin. Yeah, I wish I was the artist of version though. I really do. It's really struggling with art, but I'll get there in the end. Okay, so I think from what I can tell, we're not spawning particles after a certain point for some reason. So let's have a look why that might be. Oh, I wanted to see what screen we were on. So this is on screen. Actually, it doesn't have the screen number on. I think it's 21. I'll be able to tell when I look at the screen data anyway. I think it's that one. No, it's not. It's oh yeah, it is 21. Sorry, it's on the wrong one. Okay, so it doesn't really do anything. There's no dynamic speed adjustment like there is on this screen. So this screen has a performance adjustment, which is fine, but this one doesn't. So it's not related to any dynamic scaling of the particle kind of system. Simple as an understatement. It's quite well. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I would be lost without it, I must admit, but need a race option to help or hinder one racer per race. I would actually, that would not be too bad. That would be because you could all vote on various people, but then you'd all just gang up together and like make Turrican win all the time. Be like, right, 3 of you tase Mayhem, 3 of you tase Bob, 3 of you tase Doc. And then Turrican would just keep winning, and you'd all be billionaires, shilling billionaires. Thanks for the resub, Waller. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. It's not too early for you over there. We would just kill Well, Mayhem's going to be the fastest one. That's his job. That's what he does. That's what he's known for. Okay, let's have a look. Get next particle. It's going to be something to do with this routine. I'm not entirely sure what. So, okay, we get the maximum number of particles. Okay, that's fine. We get the actual one from up here, the -2 version as well. I can't remember why the -2 is there. I think it's to do with the fact that we spawn some particles in pairs. So we always use that value. Where's it gone? Where's the routine gone? I've gone past it, haven't I? Where's it gone? Draw particles. Clear screen particles. Update particles. Particles. Where the hell did that go? Kill particles. Did I just... Oh, it's there. There we go. And it resets to the beginning of the particle list. Okay, that's fine. So the beginning of the particle list actually has exhaust particles in it, so it has to skip a few ahead just to make sure that your exhaust particles always show. The question is, why is it still crashing here? Let me see if it's the number of particles. So let's put like a stupid amount of particles in and see what happens. Mayhem is 9 a.m. Yeah, nobody likes 9 a.m. So that doesn't seem to be making any more particles. I think we're definitely hitting a hard limit, but yes, it does seem to crash. Okay, so what if I put like one particle in there? What happens then? It may be that this isn't even working properly. It may be that this routine is just not doing the right thing. Got all next week off work. Oh, nice. I wish I did. I'd be playing Battlefield all the time. You see, I'm not spawning any particles when I die, and neither are these. It's almost like they're not. It's confusing because the decals get in the way a little bit. But yeah, they should be spawned. Wait, yeah, there's definitely something weird. They're not resetting properly. So let's just have a quick look at this. Okay, so one thing I noticed here is we're doing a comparison to see if we're equal to that. I think what we probably should do is do that to see if we're under that value instead. Because what might be happening is this may be advancing by 2. Although why it would be advancing by 2, I do not know. Who do I next particle? Wait. Well, why is that not advancing by 1 anyway? This should be advancing by 1, right? Interesting. Interesting. That should be advancing and it's not doing. Maybe I've deleted some code somewhere. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh no, that's lasers. So it's particle, next particle. Yes. We're manually increasing it here. And I bet you we're doing a double increment at the end of the particle count. I bet that's what it is. Oh no, we're doing a single increment. All right. Well, I think maybe this will help anyway, because I think what was happening was going above this value, and therefore it was no longer spawning any particles. So let's try that. Let's put the particles back to 16. I think that will fix it. I think the problem is for some reason it's skipping more than 1. Probably to do with the double particles that are happening in it's probably more to do with the explosions than it is to do with the player dying. Which it's just that when the player dies, obviously you spawn way more particles, so it tends to reach the end of the list quicker, which is probably why we were seeing the error. You see, every time now I'm getting particles, which is good. We know we're going to run into the problem because we no longer spawn particles, and we're spawning particles every time here, so that's good. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's solved the problem. We should still get particles from these, which we do. Yep. Yeah, I think that solved it. Cool. Okay, so what the problem was actually it wasn't anything really to do with the player dying. It's just it was more obvious when the player was dying because we'd reached the end of the particle list. So what happens is the particle list is a certain length. Every time you add a particle, it grabs the next particle number, and then it's for some reason it's up to this routine to decide to increment the particles. I mean, ideally that shouldn't be in there. That should be in here, but I'm not going to refactor that yet. That really should be in here. But what happens in the case of some explosions is it spawns 2 particles at a time. So you see in the find results here, we've got this one here, where it's actually incrementing the particle twice. The problem with that is we were only doing a branch if not equal here. So as long as you were on as long as you landed on the maximum number of particles when you did this, everything was fine. If you didn't land on that, then you would cause a crash. And I think the other problem is the only time that the only time that those particles are drawn in single kind of the only time the incrementer is incremented by 1 was when the player fired. So in all of the cases, you were incrementing by 2 all the time. Oh no, actually the laser as well. So most of the time you were always incrementing by 2, so you always hit that value correctly. If there's no memory left for a new particle, it will just override the first particle in the list. So it will just keep, it just keeps, it's a rolling list, exactly. So once you get to the end, it just goes back to the beginning again and overrides whatever particle was there. But yeah, so what was happening so this would have happened with the laser, and it would have happened with the player dying as well is that occasionally, instead of going up in twos, you would do something which would add one particle to the list. And that would kind of break things, because at that point you're now on an odd number instead of an even number, and you actually go past this value rather than land on it. So changing this to a BCC means we just check if we're under that number. If we're not, and we're over that number for any reason, then we go back to the beginning again. That will fix that problem. It doesn't matter if we had 2, 4, 10, 20 particles. It really doesn't matter. It will just go back to the beginning again here. So that's pretty neat, I guess. And the minus, see, I should probably refactor the particles at some point to do this on this side instead. And then we wouldn't need any of this. It's whenever you get a particle, it would just increment that value. In fact, we could probably do that now. It's probably not too difficult to do. Let's have a look. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 places where that's done. So if we just did it, I don't want to break the existing kind of numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the increment here. It seems a little bit backwards not to do it here and do the comparison here, but if we do that there, then we're actually going to be shifting all the particles along by one. So I'm going to get rid of that by doing that instead. And then I'm just going to go in here and I'm just going to move these things here. Just going to check that there's no use of the X. No. And then we just have to go and check that these are all working again. So that is explosions, laser, Robotron screen. So that's the Robotron entities dying. I don't know why I was doing that there. That's really weird. This would save a few bytes as well. So the Robotron one's here as well. Let me just check in this one as well. This load Y, yes, that's been loaded straight after. And then this one here as well. And then this way, it's going to be a lot easier to do this. In fact, we probably don't even need the -2 here. We can probably use the maximum one now because we're not adding 2 at a time. So let's make that change and do some tests. So this is Vmax particles, which means we don't need that one as well. So let's just get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Just makes things a little bit more efficient, saves a bit of room. And while we're kind of okay for room, it would be good to just kind of tidy up while we can, while we're thinking about it. So this is probably going to fail. There's probably going to be a little failure somewhere in here because of the missing. Oh no, it's worked fine. Okay, cool. That must have been the only place it was being used then. Which kind of makes sense, I guess. So explosions work. Works. That's good. Oh, I didn't see many particles appear there though. That's okay. Maybe the 2 is needed. Let's have a think about that because it looks like it's failing again here. Let's take a quick look at that code. Let's have a think. So we go to the next particle. We compare it to the maximum number of particles. If it's less than that, we go to here. Otherwise, we get the next, and then we increment the next particles so that we've got the next value. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it a different way. Then let's just do this. See if this helps. And then if not, we'll just bring that to thing back. Don't change too much in one go. Yeah, I mean it's yeah. I mean it's not too much, but it is in a few different places. So I think it should be all right. Starting to wonder though if there is a reason why that was like that, because it doesn't seem to be working quite correctly now. So let me just restore this value here. Oh, hang on. Oh no, that's right. It's we set max because we store. Let's put that back in. Let's put that back in. I'm not sure why it is using the max particles -2 might be working fine like that. Well, we'll find out. I really want to do the increment in here. It makes a lot of sense to do it in there rather than where it's being done currently. Oop. I'll just pin that to the taskbar there. I didn't. You got that pin to the taskbar again. Hey, Brute's Phase, welcome. Oh, is Amok here? I said I'd change Amok's. I don't think he's here though, is he? So we'll do it on Saturday when he's around. Yeah, it seems to work now. I don't know why it's working with the -2, but it does seem to work now. Oh no, look, it's still not resetting the value. Still not seeing some particles, but not enough. Okay, let's take a quick look. Oh. Well, it would help if I did that, wouldn't it? Means I think I can do that. And then I'm going to do that to save a bit of space. All right, I think that will be fine now. Yeah, all right. There was just a little misunderstanding on how that routine works. No, he's not. Yeah, I didn't think so. Oh my god, had you not discovered that one? The last one in the office space. How could you not get the stapler? He's like one of the most important characters in the whole film. In its own little way. Yeah, that's working perfectly now. That's great. Okay, so that's saved us a few bytes there, which is kind of nice, and a few cycles as well, because we don't need to do quite as much work on this side anymore, and we don't need to do this anymore either. So I'm just going to comment them out rather than remove them completely, just in case something breaks. I know I've got source control. I know I can go back, but it's just a habit that's kind of been left over for a long time. Yeah, stapler. See, I deliberately put TPS report in there as well, so that you would realize that it's not just people from the office space, but also objects as well. And then I would have hoped you would, if you'd have got the stapler, you would have got the TPS report. If you got TPS report, you would have got the stapler. Okay, right. So I think we're good on this now. This routine almost seems kind of pointless now. Seems like a bit of a, but it's only set on the beginning of a screen, so it's fine. I did be saving 1 byte and a few cycles at the beginning, so Flare is there. Yeah, I think Flare is there, or at least it might be the guy. I can't remember which one it is now. Okay, cool. Right, so I think we're good on that now. So let's have a look at the. Oh, let's just go and check that the laser particles are still working correctly. Everything else seems to be fine now. Yeah, everything's looking pretty good. So interestingly, this would have been a source of some random crashes as well, and we just got kind of lucky with it. Probably one of the reasons the laser would cause issues now and again. I want to see what happens when I actually die completely as well, because it seems to happen suddenly. Go to the game over. I'll go back to the main screen. Well, we just haven't got a game over, I guess. So. Oh, that sprite's missing up there. Need to fix that. Not sure why that is. Yeah, it ends very quickly. All right, let's see. Let's start the screen at level screen 10 and just see if we can figure out why the it's not in there as it's in game loop, and put the lives back to 3. Figure out why that thing is missing, then we'll go and do the spawning in the Robotron screen, because I think we're pretty much done with the Robotron screen except for the kind of polish around it. Just the actual logic around everything is pretty. Oh no, I think there was some. Weren't there some glitches on that screen? I need to take a look at that as well. Maybe I think there were some weird glitches on that screen. I just reluctantly ordered 5950X. My opinion on that, right? So I've got a 3950X, and I didn't upgrade to the 5950X because I mostly play my games in 4K. So for me, the extra whatever the percentage is uptick in productivity stuff is not worth it, because the games don't really improve at all. 4K between 3950 and 5950S is probably like 1 or 2 frames per second in most cases. So I stuck with the 3950X. Now the Alder Lake stuff looks interesting, but you've got to remember that the current Ryzen series is almost a year old. Maybe it is a year. It might be more than a year old. But either way, it's not the latest Ryzen stuff. And Alder Lake is they're very much playing on the fact that they have created something which beats the current champions. And yes, it's good that they've done that, but they're doing it at a way higher power draw, which means you're going to have much better cooling than you would have for an AMD system. You need a brand new board and brand new memory for this to work. They're also running on DDR5, not DDR4, so they've got much higher frequencies on the memory. And you've got the new series of Ryzen coming out. So I think there's going to be a Zen 2 Plus refresh. There's going to be like a 5000 series refresh in the new year, which probably is going to bring it on par with Alder Lake again. And then shortly after that, there will be the 6000 series, which I suspect is going to absolutely wipe the floor with Alder Lake. So for me, it's just a matter of I don't like the fact that I'd have to upgrade pretty much every part in my computer bar the graphics card. And I've got like a £1,000 motherboard. I really don't want to ditch that unless I absolutely have to. The compatibility with a lot of DRM stuff is a serious problem. And for me, yeah, as Warlock says, that's just not good enough for me at all. And the fact that I think what we're seeing is very I don't know how to word it. I get it's kind of like boosted performance. Yes, the performance is better. The power the performance per watt is terrible, but that's kind of to be expected. Intel's methodology has just been always to kind of up the power all the time. Let's find where this spawn is. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. The way they're doing it is just the way they're going to keep doing it for a while. I think, where's the map? There it is. But I do think that what they've very cleverly launched at a time when the 5950X and similar chips are kind of getting a bit old now. Just before AMD does a refresh. And just before they release the Zen 3 chip. So I personally don't think it's as great as it appears at first glance. I think it's best to wait. I want to upgrade, but I'm going to wait to see what the Ryzen 6 series is like. I can definitely get by on this board and chip for a long time yet. So, all right, let's see what happens when I die here, because I think that sprite disappears when I die. No, it doesn't. All right, let's go off the screen. Oh, damn it. All right. I've got to actually play properly. But yeah, I mean, personally, I wouldn't buy a 5950X at the moment, just because I think it's just a little bit late in the life of that chip. However, if you are in need of an upgrade and you already have an AMD Ryzen board, then it's a great upgrade for most people and supported in, I think most AM4 boards will support a 5950. Don't quote me on that though. I can't remember. No, that thing is still there. Right. Why does that disappear then? I do not know why that disappears. That's weird. Okay, well it does disappear. Oh yeah, to make a purchase before the end of the yeah. I mean, if you needed the upgrade, it's it's absolutely fine. And it's a great chip. I mean, I was very close to buying one, but I just couldn't convince myself. I couldn't justify it to myself because it would literally just be a 10% upgrade in kind of the workstation performance, productivity performance, and virtually none in gaming. And to me, that's not worth dropping the chip I have currently. The 3950 is absolutely fine. I do have to I need to take my computer apart and reapply the thermal paste because I unfortunately I didn't think to apply proper thermal paste on the board. So I got an expensive board and it came with thermal pads on it already. So it's a full cover water block on the board. So I didn't think to change them and put like thermal grizzly on or anything like that. Thank you for the resub 6502. Appreciated as ever. And now I think whatever is there, whatever those thermal pads are that are there, has dried out, and the chip does get really really hot, even though it's on a water loop. Also, when I installed my 3090, I changed from a dual loop system to a single loop system. So I kind of want to, because I think they both run a little bit hotter than they should do. I've turned some of the cores off on my 3950 just to keep it a bit cooler. But in the summer it was a nightmare. It was getting way too hot even for water cooling. So I've just ordered a new water block for my 3090, which has a much better backplate on it to keep the graphics card clear. I'm gonna install it as a dual loop again. So I'm gonna redo the machine at some point. I want to take the PlayStation 4 out of the back as well because I don't really use it anymore. So oh yeah, I love my water cooling. I absolutely love it, and I haven't done any for a while, so it's a good excuse to kind of get my hands in and mess around with it. So, um, I was looking at really nice. They got some really nice hybrid water blocks for the 3090, which actually run the water through the back and the front of the card, but they're only for the Founders Edition at the moment, which is a shame because the biggest problem with the 3090 is that the memory chips on the back get really really hot. Um, this all seems to be working fine. That's so frustrating. Still there. All right. I'm not sure why that's a problem, but just have to keep an eye out for that and see why that disappears sometimes. Could be a multiplexer thing, I guess. But yeah, I'm really happy with this case. I'm going to keep this case for quite a while, I think. It shot everything in the screen below. Yeah, maybe it's to do with the explosion sprites. That's a really good point, actually. Okay, let's try that out. Yeah, I'm going to keep this case because it's a nice big roomy case. It gives me room for two massive radiators on the back. So it's really nice for dual loop systems because I can fit a big kind of 560mm radiator on both sides, one for each loop. So that's what I'm going to do. Probably not the weekend because I'm probably going to be playing Battlefield. But sorry, just getting all the power ups. There we go. But sometime during the next week, I'm going to look at redoing the loop, bringing it back to a dual loop, and then when the 6000 series comes out, I'm gonna get a new board and possibly upgrade to DDR5. I'm assuming the Ryzen 6000 will be on DDR5. And also, one thing to bear in mind as well is that AMD benefits way more from memory than Intel does. So decent speed memory has way more of an effect on an AMD chip than it does on an Intel chip. I don't know the exact reason why, but benchmarks have consistently proven that high speed memory. Actually, there's a kind of a sweet spot around about 600 megahertz, but that's just on DDR4. I'm assuming it will be the same for DDR5. There'll be a sweet spot, but you will get more performance uplift, I think, from using DDR5 on AMD. So I have good I have a good feeling that the let's see, it's not done it again. Let me die on that. No, I thought it might have been to do with the power ups or something, but oh, there we go. It is to do with the power ups. Ah, okay. Right, let me think why that's doing that so I can recreate it. Okay, this is screen 11. Let's try and have a look at the screen 11 stuff. I think this is, again, the rolling list, so it's going round. We've got a 16. Is that the sprites? Is that? I think that's sprites, not particles, because that would make any sense for performance on sprites. Let me have a think about this, right? So if we were to launch this screen and have a think about what's going on in this screen in terms of sprites. You can delete Sardi. Oh my god. That, I mean, there's an interesting series. Page 3 girls. Obviously, they'd have to be stream safe pictures of them, like, but you know, there's some famous Page 3 girls from back in the day. So I think there's like 7 potential sprites here total, plus this one 8, and then there's 3. There's one for the player, one for the mace, and one for the masking, and they never change. So they're no matter what you do, those will always be there. They're kind of locked and they don't disappear. However, these may get reused. So I think what's happening is at a certain point we get to the end of the sprite list. So we've got 3, 7 here. Let's call it 10 and 11. So if I go and fire 5 things off down here, or 4, let me do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So now 4 more sprites have been added to the list. So we're up to 15 with this one. So if I die here, no. But at some point, I'll cross the boundary and there we go. And what's happening there is that power up is spawning where there's a sprite already active. So I think what we need to do is add some in the get next sprite routine. We just need to make sure if a sprite is active or not, which is not going to be super easy to do, I don't think. But let's have a look. This is good, actually. I think the bug fixing is going quite well now. So, but yeah. Anyway, that's my take on CPUs. Is if you absolutely need to get one now, I would still go with Ryzen. The reason I would still go with Ryzen as well is because if you've already got a Ryzen board, then basically the latest chip is going to work in it anyway. I think there's only like the lower end of the boards that won't work with the latest chips. But if you've got like a relatively recent board, like the last 2 or 3 years, it's going to work with the latest chips. You might not get PCIe 4 unless you've got the X570, but you know, it will work with those. But the advantages is when they do the refresh and they release chips that will compete with older late, they will still work in the same board. You still won't need to upgrade your board to do it. And there's been rumors that the 6 series will be launched in 2 versions as well. There'll be an AM4 DDR version and an AM5 DDR5 version. So, or whatever they decide to call the socket, I'm sure it'll be AM5. So there's rumors that might be happening as well, which would be a massive win for AMD, and it would be crazy for them not to do that as well. There may still be issues with Ryzen and Windows 11. Yeah, I also wouldn't upgrade to Windows 11 until next year sometime. Give them a bit of time to get it working. It seems like most of the issues have been sorted, but I can imagine there's still a few things here and there. But okay, so let's have a look at the sprites. So this is this is the sprites. Okay, so let's take a quick look. What did I just do that I saved for some reason? All right. So in here, there's going to be a get next free sprite, and you see at the moment what it's doing is it's just saying first free sprite. So first free sprite is the first sprite that's not locked in place. So the locked in place sprites are the mace, the player, and the mask. So there's 3 which are locked in place. So it can't be any of those. But you can see what it's doing here is just grabbing the next sprite off the list, adding 1 to it. I don't know why it's doing it like that. Is it doing it like that? That's very strange. I mean, that would just be easier, right? See, another 2 bytes saved there. And then regardless of what that sprite is, it's just using that. I think what it needs to do instead is it needs to check this list to see if a sprite is not being used. And if it's not being used, keep grabbing until it finds one that isn't being used, but with a limit on how far it can go. So let's think about this. So I can't remember which one resets the clear sprites frame is 0. That's it, right? So if we compare the frame to 0, so where do we need to do it here? I guess we need to do it here, don't we? All right. No, this is going to be in the accumulator at the moment. All right, hang on. Let's have a quick think about this. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to take a copy of this function so I don't mess it up completely. I'm just going to call that 2, and then I'll delete it once I get this one working. Right, so I'm going to do everything with the X register here. Okay. But this is expecting a value in the accumulator when it's finished, so we need to return it to the accumulator. Okay, so this is doing the same thing, but now it's using the X register. But that allows us to do this now. So now we can do data.frame X. And if that's not equal to 0, then we reset. Now, the problem with that is, and it's lowercase d, not uppercase. The problem with doing this, so we could do something like this. The problem with doing this is we potentially run into the situation where we're getting into an infinite loop when there's too many sprites on the screen. We hit an infinite loop, which could happen if you explode a load of things, or various things like that. Anyway, so what I want to do is I want to just check first of all where this is happening. So I'm guessing it's happening in quite a few places. Okay, so we're using the Y. So okay, so we would need to restore the Y register if we use the Y register. So what I'm going to do is do this. So this is just going to be a fail-safe, basically. What this is going to do is make sure that if we hit a limit, that we just use whatever sprite it is. So there will still be a case where some things could disappear, but it should only happen on very, very busy screens and very rarely as well. Oh, the stuff I've got in my computer is insane. It's like I said, I mentioned this about the Mega 65 and why people were saying, why would people spend £1,000 on a dev kit? I don't drive. I don't buy a car, right? So you may yourself, or you may know somebody who will go out and spend 50 grand on a sports car, right? I don't do that. So my disposable income goes on my Mega 65, it goes on my retro equipment, and goes on my computer. And the thing is, my computer's nowhere near the price of a sports car. My computer is probably 7 grand or something with everything that it's got. And that includes like crazy kind of NAS storage and like ridiculous amounts of memory and custom parts and stuff. So it's an expensive computer, but if you were to buy a car for that, you wouldn't get a very good car. You'd get I mean, it would be functional, but it wouldn't be no sports car. And the thing with the sports car is you can't run it at full speed. You can't legally run it at maximum speed. I can run my computer at maximum speed. There's nothing stopping me running my computer and overclocking it. And the police aren't gonna arrest me for running my chip at 5 gigahertz, but they will arrest you for driving at 200 mile an hour down a motorway. You can, just don't get caught. Yeah. The point I'm trying to make is that people will spend an awful lot of money on cars, and I don't. So for me, this is what I spend my money on. And when you go and buy your petrol for the month, I will buy some games on Steam or something like that. So it's pretty much the same. You buy a new exhaust or a new air filter or whatever you petrol heads buy for your cars, I'll buy a new water block or a new hard drive or something like that. So yeah, come to Germany, you can run it full speed. Yeah, I mean you do have that advantage there as well. You spent £350. Where the hell were you going, Andy? 250 is a lot of money. Okay, so before we do this check here, what I'm going to do is increment the Y, and if Y is if we've reached the maximum number of multiplex sprites, that means we've gone through this loop way too many times. And if that happens, then we're just going to jump to found straight away. So that means this routine is going to take a little bit longer to do its thing. But what it should do is allow us to avoid the situation where we overwrite active sprites. Expenses since the first of the month. Sunderland every day. Wow. Okay. At least 139 spent cigarettes since the pandemic. Yeah. Yeah. I must admit, I'm a bit annoyed that I've started smoking again. I'm sure I'll give it another go at stopping at some point. Right, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go down here. Going to blow up 4 objects down here. So that the explosion sprites trigger. So those little kind of explosion sprites. Then I go up here, drop my power up. And now, if I were to die again, that sprite would normally disappear. But hopefully now it doesn't. And it doesn't. Okay, cool. Just double check. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, cool. Right, so that's another problem solved. Didn't add too much code there. I think that's kind of self-explanatory for the most part. There's nothing. Just gonna look through the logic of this a little bit just to make sure. I'm gonna put a little note in here as well. Make sure we don't infinite loop break out if we've sprite is active, fetch next instead. Okay, so that kind of explains what's going on there, and that should hopefully help with that as well. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break because somebody mentioned cigarettes, and now I want a cigarette. So I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break. I shall leave you with the wait, is that on 0 or 9? That's on 9. All right. I'll leave you with the quiz and the races. I should be back in a few minutes, and we'll move on back to the Robotron screen and see if we can get that finished tonight. So it's pretty good progress tonight. Some interesting bugs fixed. Some potential, like the particle one, potentially would have been a tricky one to kind of deal with. So because it would have appeared kind of randomly as well, which is the annoying thing. Okay, right. I shall be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be right back. Back. I don't know why I bother trying to check chat once I've come back from a break. It's just join. Shoot mayhem. Who said that? Great idea. I did consider trying to add marbles on stream in the break screen, in the be right back screen today, but I didn't have enough time to look into whether it's possible or not. And if I could link it to Shiver Shillings somehow. If it's got an API, which I doubt, then I might do that. But I doubt it has, to be honest. But yeah, you never know. I mean, it's designed for streams, so but it would be a nice, interesting something different. Instead of turning the races on when I go for a break, I could just leave the marbles on stream thing running instead, because it is kind of cool. I do kind of like it. It's nice. All right, let's carry on with this and get fresh water. When I do my new machine, when the Ryzen 6 series 6000 series comes out, I might actually stream building the machine, because by then I'll be in my new place and I'll have a proper space that I can do it in, and it might make an interesting stream. I'll show you how I do it, because I still don't know if I'm going to use bended tubes or if I'm going to use fittings again to do the bends. I'm not sure, but I do want to build like a Mario themed machine with thick green tubes and stuff, so it might be an interesting stream. Let me know if that's something you're interested in seeing. I'll definitely consider doing that. That something isn't working. It seems to be very behind in terms of subs. Let me refresh. Maybe it needs refreshing. Because I think what I'm going to do is strip it down completely, take the PlayStation out, which I'm going to do anyway when I do the upgrade. Take the X, because there's an Xbox Series S in there, and there's there's a PS4 Pro in the back. So I'm going to take those out because I've barely even used the Xbox. It's in there, it's all connected up, and I can just play the Xbox whenever I want. But there's no point, so it's just sat there in the machine. So I'm going to take that out. I might even sell that or give it away on stream or something. I don't know. It's kind of pointless. I'm not using it at all. And with most of the games coming out on the PC at the same time, there's really no need for me to have an Xbox. And the PS4 Pro, I don't need anymore because I've got a PS5, so I'm using that all the time. Menthol is meant to make you quit smoking. Never understood menthol cigarettes. It seems like a strange choice to make. It's like you don't want to admit that you're smoking. PS5 is very nice. Yeah, I really do. I like my PS5. I don't play on it enough actually, but I'm kind of distracted by a lot of things at the moment. I've been trying to do this drawing, trying to learn to draw, and it's taken a lot of my time up. All right, let's crack on with the Robotron screen. So I think we're at that point where we can do that now. So let's just go and have a quick look at it, just see if there's any serious bugs in there. I think there was some glitches, but they might be solved by some of the particle stuff we did. It could just be the way the particles were working that they may have been causing the issues. Totally distracted with crypto at the moment. I don't pay any attention to my crypto. I watch the prices, but I don't really do anything. I occasionally put a little bit in PayPal. If I've got a bit of spare money at the end of the month, I'll put 50 or £100 in PayPal and just buy some Litecoin or something. But I don't sell it again. I just keep hold of it. And with the crypto that I do have, and I have quite a bit of crypto, I just leave it. I don't. I other than watching the price, I don't buy or sell. I just leave it. So I try and ignore it. You will run out of money very quickly if you start trying to be clever with it and sell it all the time. Right? Just make sure I die in here. Yeah, I do. All right. Oh, the death routine wasn't great, was it? Oh no, mind you, it seems to be working there. Let's have a look. Gee, that's not bad. That's kind of all right. Okay. Yeah, I'm I'm almost there now, to be honest. Um, not far off anyway. Not far off. I'm not going to reveal exactly how much I'm up and how much I invested, but I did invest very much, and I'm up a lot. So that's all you need to know. No, somebody asked me. I think it was Matt who asked me if I thought that was going to have an effect on the crypto prices, and I said no. If anything, I think it's going to make it go up, and I was right as well. It dipped a little bit, as I said. It would dip a little bit to follow the markets, and then it would just basically boost it. So, hey, Proton. Just to let you know, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you've gone full lurk already. Um, I've had loads of problems with the switches on these things. So I'm just going to redesign the switch. Just going to print out a tiny little switch that fits in here, and it will it will get shipped to you kind of probably on Monday. Yeah, I just had tons and tons of problems. I've got like show you. I've got like a handful of these things. But these are all the switches that broke in making the lid. I made three of the lids, and in each one the switches broke off. So think my I think my white filament is brittle. I think it needs heating up and stuff. Okay, right. So this screen, it looks like the glitches are fixed by. Um, let's just get them to kind of bunch up on each other a little bit and see if the glitches are fixed. I think they are. Oh damn it! I died. Right, I need to get into that screen before I die. Holy shit! Okay, there's a little bit of a bug when you re-enter a screen after dying, but that's kind of all right because you'll be back at the beginning, so it shouldn't be an issue. Um, so let's just see if I. Oh my god, yeah, definitely. All right, I think we need the invincibility, don't we? I think it's time to do that. Okay, so invincibility wise, let's have a look what the main game does. If it does anything at all, I'm not actually. How can I do this? Well, let's just add an invincibility thing, and I can check it later. I'll probably have to load the game up again. So. Oh yeah, definitely be careful with crypto. I wouldn't recommend directly to anybody to do it. Do your research. Only invest what you can afford to lose. Is the usual stuff. And don't just take people's word for it. Don't jump on stuff because it seems to be like raising super fast. Do your research first before you do. Um, and if you say you put 10 grand in and you get to 100 grand, take your 10 grand out, get your 10 grand back, leave 90 grand in there, but take your 10 grand back. Then you've not lost anything, right? You've got your money back. Um, just curious, do you have music for Cecconoid already? I do. Jason Page has done the music for this. I've not, I think I played a little bit of it on stream, but I haven't played all of it. Um, but yeah, Jason Page has done a really nice job of it as well. It's very, very nice. Um, I had BTC on, and it was around 4,000. Yeah, I got in at around 3,000. I think it was just a little bit less than that. And I got a crap load of Ethereum when it was like $200. So the Ethereum is doing really, really nice for me. And Bitcoin is doing nice for me as well. So Yeah, try and take your initial investment out as soon as you feel comfortable doing so. Don't get greedy. Just make sure you take that out as soon as you can. Then if you do lose the rest of your investment, you haven't really lost anything. You got your original money back. So anyway, let's get off crypto. It's not the most interesting topic, and I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I know there's issues. People have a lot of issues with it as well, which is fine. Okay, let's take a look at invincibility. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to just have an invincibility timer in here. So nice and easy. Let's just do player is invincible, and that will start on 0. But what will happen is when the player spawns, it will get set to a value which will tick down. So what we'll do is we'll set a value here, and we'll make let's just pick a relatively small value. We'll store that in player is invincible. Okay, so now all we need to do is we need to decide how we're going to show that invincibility. So I think the simplest way to do this is just to flash the player. No, I haven't actually. No, I will do it at some point. I've got to remember to do it. I'm really bad with kind of remembering to do these things. I just noticed my background is a bit flickery, so let me just change my settings in here a minute. Hang on. Well, it should flicker less. There we go. That's a little bit better. Yeah. Oh, you keep losing points. If you let me know what they are, I can put some on for you. So, well, you got that one on. That's good. Oh, you you requested the same tune a few times. Oh, and Zelda. The easiest way to do easiest way to do it is if you go to Deep Sid and just copy the address from the bar, and then you get the right slashes in there as well. It just takes a minute. Well, it's not quite, because I have to actually re-index everything in my thing, because it has to know like the lengths of tunes and things like that. So it's not quite just a minute. It takes me about 10 minutes to do. It's not too bad because you do get a file that has that. Thank you, SR Bolus or Senior Bolus or Sir Bolus. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, it's not quite the easy task that it should be. I'm hoping when I eventually get around to do my new overlay, it's on the list of millions of projects that I need to complete. That I will actually I will add a HVSC update automatically into there, so I'll just be able to press a button and it should update. Okay, where are we at? Let's have a look. Just checking up on some few little things in here that to catch up on. All right, okay. Player is invincible. Okay, so we've set a value in here. So all we need to do now is when we render this the player. So whenever we set the stuff for the player, so I think there's like a player drawer in here or something like that. Let's find it somewhere. It's going to be in here somewhere. Spawn player, player dying, kill player, control. Is it in control for some reason? I think it might be, because look at this. We've got Y positions being set in the multiplexer here. It's probably not the best place to do it. Apply multiplexer data. Yeah, okay. So at this point here, we're updating the multiplexer with the various things. I don't know why we've got doubles of all these lines, but we have. Let's get rid of those. Don't need those. So what we can do here is we can just do a little check. Player is invincible. What we'll do is we'll set. I'm just trying to think how best to do this. Do we just turn the sprite on and off? Or should we do a color change? Because we could do white, black, white, black. That would produce this pretty much the same effect. Or we could turn the, I think we need to turn it on and off. Oh no, because if we turn it on and off, are we going to run into, oh no, because we're not using hardware collision at all, so we should be fine with that. Okay, in that case, what we're going to do is we're going to take D015, which is our sprite enable. We're going to oh, actually no, because it's this one in here as well. Okay, so well, hang on, I need to think about this 1 second. Player frame I need. Okay, so that's, it is set in there. Okay, so what I need to do, the frame is set at this point. So if the player is invincible, where's it gone? God damn it, where's it gone? There we go. So if the player isn't invincible, we won't do anything. We'll just leave it as it is. However, if the player is invincible, then what we're going to do is we're going to decrement the player is invincible value. We won't read it again. We've already got a value in the accumulator. We'll use that one. And what we'll do is we'll AND that with, say, 0.3. We'll change this. So this will be kind of flash speed, let's call it. No, actually, we don't AND it with 0.3. We AND it with like 0.4. It needs to be a power of 2 because we're not doing this once every 3 frames. We want half of the time for it to be on, half of the time for it to be off. So if that's equal to 0, we don't do anything. Otherwise, what we do is we take the value 0 and store that at multiplexer dot data dot frame plus 1. So we're not going to be invincible yet, but we will have we should see the player flash for a few seconds at the beginning. Now, the only thing we probably need to do is make sure it doesn't happen at the very first time we come in. Oh, and there was an issue here. Okay, so that's not going to work. Okay, let's die. We should, okay. Okay, so the frame only updates when we move. So in that case, what we need to do is we need to make sure that the current player frame is always stored somewhere. So what we'll do is we will let's think about how to do this. So this is the current player frame to when it starts. This is the current player frame. Where's the control? Here we go. So in here, the control sets the player frame. Where is it? Oh, it's going to be in the left and right. It's going to be in these ones here. Okay. It's these values here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that to that. So that'll be in there, and it will also be in the right-hand side as well. I don't think there's anywhere else that that's set. No. Okay, so then at the bottom down here, just check that that's all. Okay. This isn't enough for the multiplexer to ignore it. I think the multiplexer still draws it, so we need an empty sprite, which I do have somewhere, so I probably need to set that. But basically, we are going to start by, do we use any X in stuff in here? I think we do, actually. So actually, it doesn't look like we do, but it doesn't matter. This is a game loop thing, so I can use whatever value I want in here. So I'm going to load player frame. That, and then I just need to go and create a variable for that up here. I like this song. It's very good. I remember the demo of this as well. Very good demo. Okay, I didn't see. So we're not flashing. We should be flashing between two values, and we're not doing. So either the build hasn't worked, which it does look like it has worked. Yeah, everything seems to be fine there, or that value is not working properly. So current frame. Oh, I know why. It's because nowhere else. Oh, it's doing the working out which way we're facing. So it's correct at that point. All right, cool. So we're still going to get that weird sprite, but hopefully now it should flash between the original sprite and the weird sprite, and then we just need to go and make sure we use the empty sprite. Okay, good. Right. So, okay, perfect. That fits really well. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, so now we need. I need to go and have a look at the sprites. I can't remember which sprite it was. It's this one, isn't it? All right. So many projects. I've completely forgot where half of these things are now. So is it going to be this one? Probably is this one. Yeah, it looks like it. Yes, there's an empty sprite there. I knew there was. So it's sprite number 7, but this starts at 4, so it's going to be 40. So it's going to be 47. I don't think that's been used for anything else. Close all of those. So I think if I just do that, it should be fine. We'll keep an eye on that. I think we might. I can't remember if that sprite's been used for anything else or not. I don't think it is, though. Yeah, I don't think it is. So far, we're doing quite well with the sprites. Not that many being used. So. And I think for the most part, anything that uses a lot of sprites will be imported from cartridge later on anyway. So. Yeah, there we go. Right, so now we're flashing a little bit, which is good. I need to check exactly what goes on with this sprite, if that is the right behavior or not. But for now, it will be fine. So now we just need to make ourselves invincible for that short time as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in the collision routine, or actually I can do it in kill player. That's probably the easiest way to do it. In here, right? So if the player is dying, then we don't do. So if the player is not dying, we come to here and we do the dying. But we can do another check here, which is if the player is invincible and not invincible, then we jump to here. Otherwise, we return. So that should be enough to make us invincible. And what I just want to do very quickly is just up the timer for the player is invincible just to be twice as long, just so we can just confirm that it's working properly. So, okay, so should be able to confirm it's pretty easy in the Robotron screen. So, okay, so if I die, I should still be able to get away. Okay, good. And those glitches do seem to have disappeared as well. I think it was related to the particle problems that we were having. So that's pretty good. Okay, cool. So next step, we need to create a way of controlling this Robotron screen for multiple screens, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to have a couple of lists in here. So let's go into Robotron. How have we got left? We've got about an hour and 10 minutes left. That's pretty good. We've got plenty of time. Okay, let's have a look. What can we do in here? Okay, so when we initialize the screen, we need to initialize some values in here as well. So I think what it will be, I was trying to think. So let's create a thing in here called spawn list. So this is going to be and spawn count. So the spawn list will be a number of bytes. Let's put 8 in for now, and the spawn count will be a single byte. And what will happen with the spawn list is you'll be able to, once you've initialized the screen, the first thing you need to do is you need to set this spawn list. And what this spawn list will do is it will determine what type of character will spawn and how many of them. So the way we'll do this is we'll use nibbles to do this. So the high nibble will be the type, and there'll be type 0 basically, which will be actually, do we have a type 0? No, we need type 1. Actually, are we even using type? I don't think we're using type at the moment. We do store it in here, but we don't really do anything beyond that. So let's just have a look at the screen. It's this one here. So you can see we're doing all of this, and we're going to save this memory by removing this and doing it in the Robotron screen itself rather than in here. So the type will determine which ones we spawn. At the moment, there's type basic. Let's have a look. Is that using the upper nibble or not? I bet it's not. No, it's not. Okay, so why is it using that nibble? Why is it using that value there? I'm not going to argue with it. But we could actually change it to that one there, and then that means it should still work the same. Let's just make sure it still works the same. I think it's because the type is actually used in conjunction with something else. Yeah, everything seems to work fine. Okay, that's good. Oh, shit. Okay, good. Right, okay. So if that's working, then that means we can use this here to determine the number that we spawn. So what we'll do is we'll create a little routine. Where's Robotron gone? There it is. That determines how many to spawn and what the spawn count is on. So we'll also need a spawn index as well. Let's make them all hex. Just it doesn't really matter, does it? These are not hex. All right, whatever. Let's make it consistent at least. I don't like the fact that they're not hex, but they're zeros, so I don't really care too much. The ones above them aren't zero, so that's annoying. So the first thing it should do, once we've initialized, we probably need another thing here called start spawn. And what start spawn will do is, so you call init, then you set this list up, and then you call start spawn. Now, the other thing that initialize will need to do is it will need to store spawn count and spawn index as 0. Then what start spawn will do, or let's just call it spawn. So what spawn will do is it will go through this list. So it starts by loading the spawn index, and then it's going to grab the first number in here. So in this case, Okay, so now we have a number, and this gives us our type. So this is fetch type and count. So we're probably going to have to grab this number twice. Do I have a bit table? I don't think I do have a bit table, do I? No, I don't. I don't think. Hang on, let me check. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll just load it twice because it's only going to happen once in a frame. Once every, 1,000 frames or something. It's not going to be a lot. So I'm going to add this with 0f. This is going to be given the count. And we're going to transfer that into the... We'll transfer it into the Y register because we're using the X at the moment. Then we're going to grab it again, and this time we're going to end it with F0, and this gives us the type. Okay, so now we know what the type is, and now we know how many we need to make. So now we need to, in a loop, do the same thing that this is doing here, which at the moment is just kind of randomly creating them based on these values. So let's just put this in here. So this is what we want to do. Well, ideally, we want these values to be random, but we also need to make sure that they don't spawn inside anything. Now, it doesn't really matter on this particular screen, but it will matter on some later screens because they've got kind of a weird kind of layout of the screen. For now, I'm just going to make them spawn anywhere. When we get to that screen, we'll see the errors and we can come back and change it just to get it working. So we know the type, and that's what's being added in here. And then we need these values. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just a little... actually, can I use a 0 page value for this? I think I've got a... I can use a gtemp kind of thing. I've got a couple of those. If it's the right project, I can never remember which project we're in. Yeah, we've got some gtemp stuff. All right, cool. So we can use these global temps. So that's actually going to get stored in gtemp1 like that, right? So this is our loop. We're going to grab the basic type, and then we need these to be random numbers. Now, I think the easiest way to do this is if I do this and do Dominic Siegfried, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Let me cheers you with a bottle of water. It would be vodka or beer, but yeah, nine months or so. Well, this is episode 51, so it probably is about a year. But I mean, we're talking, this has only ever been done in these 3 hours on a Thursday night. So it's not that long, actually. If you look at it in terms of time, it's probably about 150 hours, which is what, 4 weeks worth of 4 weeks worth of kind of full-time work. But we're in a very good situation now because we do have most of the systems in place. It's really just a matter of going through the screens and adding all the things in. Okay, so we're gonna store that value there like that. Then I can basically do what I want with the accumulator here. So we do have a random routine, so we'll grab that, and I'm going to call this R1. And basically, we need to make sure that this fits within a range. So first of all, we're going to AND it with 3F because that's going to narrow the range down to the lowest we can get without kind of causing weird kind of issues. And then we just need to do some comparisons. So what we'll do is we will compare it to 38, which is going to be our the biggest range of values that we want, and then we'll just increment by... Oh, actually, is it 38 or is it's going to be 36, isn't it? Because we've got 2 here, 2 here. So the screen is 40 wide. We've got a row of 2 tiles on each side, so it's 36 values that we want, which is really annoying because we're so close to it being 32. So in fact, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it 32, and then we don't have to do the comparison. And I'm just going to add a value to this. So it's going to be... actually, do I need to... I will clear the carry bit for now, but I might not need to. I might be able to do it up here. So it's 32, and I want it to be in the middle of this area here. That means that there needs to be 4 on each side. So I need to add 4 to this value and then transfer that into the X register. Now, we're not going to be able to do the same thing for the Y register. That is going to be tricky. We are going to need this loop, probably. I'm going to keep the loop labels in there. So vertically, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows that we can't use, which means we've got 20 potential positions. Actually, we could do the same here as well. 20 positions. If we make that 16, yeah, this will work actually. Which means I can move that clear out here because we're never going to be setting that carry flag. So, and then all I have to do here is add the top section on. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and then a padding of 2. So I'm going to add 5 here. That actually makes it quite a fit, because otherwise what you'd have to do is you'd have to keep calling the random function, and I don't want to do that too much. Because it will slow things down a little bit. Not that it's going to be particularly slow, this thing at all, but and there we go. We've added a single entity at that point. So then the other thing we need to do now is we need to increment the spawn counter and decrement the gtemp value here, which I'm actually going to create a lookup for this. So I'm going to call this num to spawn. Yeah, makes it a bit easier when you're looking through the code later on. You have these little aliases in place. And if that's not equal to 0, then we can go back to loop. So now at this point, we've spawned however many we need, and the spawn count has been updated. And 0f rather than 0. Well, oh, yeah, sorry. That's a really good point. That's a 5-pointer easily there. GHAF, thank you very much. Yeah, that's a really good point. I'd have missed that. That would have... I would have probably only ever got... Yeah, I would have only ever got 0 or 16. That would have been quite interesting. They would have all been spawning at the side, well, at the top and bottom in lines like that. So, okay, okay. So this is going to spawn however many we need, and it's going to set the spawn counter to be the number of things that we've spawned. Now, at the same point here, we're going to increment the spawn index. So the only thing we need to do is we need to make sure that we've got some kind of callback here, something that happens when we reach the end of this spawn list. So at this point here, we're going to jump to here, but we need something here. So there'll be some kind of callback here. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet. It's probably going to be, we're just going to set a, actually we could probably do it with the X and Y here on the init. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the callback. And then we can jump to that. So what we'll do here, we'll store a word here. Actually, can I do... Oh my God, my brain's not working. Let me just check something. Using the... That's fine. It's... Yeah, okay, I can. I was for some reason I was thinking I couldn't do indirect jump from outside a 0 page, but I can. So I can just jump to this. So this will be like that, which means I don't need the RTS. So it'll be a tail call. So what will happen is when the spawn happens, instead of it completing this list, it will jump to whatever your callback is. And the way we'll store the callback is we'll store X. Actually, let's do this up here. Store X in Okay, cool. So we initialize the callback here, and then when we're finished, we can jump to it here, and that means in our screen code we can do whatever we want. So let's put a value in here. So we've got a type of actually, let's do it in the screen code so it makes more sense. Okay, so where is the screen code for this? Is it this one? Yeah, okay, so we can get rid of all of this crap now. We don't need all of this. We're just going to save loads and loads of time. Robotron init here, so we need to let's call it on complete. There we go. So the job of this will be to reopen the door again at this point. And what start Robotron will do is it will set this list up and call spawn. So the last thing it will do is Robotron .spawn, which is going to initialize all the spawning system. Actually, that should happen automatically. It shouldn't need that, because what we'll do in the update, wherever it is here, if it's not equal to 0, then we jump to here. Otherwise, if it is equal to 0, we're going to jump to spawn. And again, it's a tail call. We'll just jump into spawn. We don't need to do any of this stuff. We're just setting up the next set of entities. The only thing we need to do is make them spawn kind of one at a time, like boop, 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 boop. But we'll do that in a minute once we've got the things actually working. So what we'll have is we'll have a kind of spawn timer, if you like, for each entity that gets spawned, and it will tick down and then spawn, and there will be some kind of animation between between somewhere in that spawn time and the actual spawn location, the actual 0. Okay, so we also need to make sure that when we kill, that the spawn count goes down. Nearly said a different word then. It's the actual death. Check versus bullet. Here we go. Found. Destroy entity. Test all Robotron entities. Jump to destroy entity. Okay, so at this point now, we know we've hit one, so we're going to decrease spawn count. So now what should happen is once we kill them all, they should... Wait, where does Start Robotron get called from? Once we've killed them all, they should trigger the on-complete callback. Here it gets called. Okay, so I don't know if that gets called... All right, well, we'll see what happens. See what happens. We may have to organize things a little bit. Maybe have something different in here. Okay, so Start Robotron, what do we need to do? Okay, so we need to set the value in the spawn list. So we're going to let's do it like this. So, and then we're going to compare that to the reason I'm doing it like this is because it means I can kind of copy paste this code pretty much for screens that have a Robotron in it, and we just have to change the spawn list up here. So, and then this can be any length we need it to be, as long as it ends with a 0 and isn't more than 8. So let's just put maximum 8. We may need to change the, for now, we may need to change this to accept more, but for now it's fine. So what we're going to add in here is we'll do one row at a time, and finish on a 0. And we need to add Robotron type basic, is it, or whatever? Type basic like that. Plus the count. So we want, let's put actually, what's our maximum Robotron? I think it was 12 actually was in the original game. So let's do 12 and let's add another one in. So we should get, it's 3 sets of 12 is what it spawns, I believe. So let's try that. So that will spawn 12, then another 12, then another 12, and we initialize the list here. And it should automatically start spawning them once the thing works. And then on complete, we'll just do, for now, we'll just do that. So we'll just see if we complete it, the border should start flashing. Right, okay. Second time tonight. Very good. Oops. Oh, good job I was invincible then. We need to check. Oh, right, okay. So what's happened here is it immediately thinks we've finished because the spawn list hasn't been populated yet. So I guess the way to fix this is to just, first of all, just have a look through the spawn list, see what's going on. Okay, so we know that's fine. So what happens in the update? So the update checks the spawn count if it's not equal. So the update's happening too soon. So this is happening before. Oh, that shouldn't be there. Let's get rid of that. Warning count is more than 0, then flash. Okay, so flash warning. We shouldn't be doing the update at this point. And the flash warning does all this and then starts the Robotron. Okay, so let's do that. I don't know what we're going to get out of there, so I'll just do a jump, I think, instead. Okay, so it has. Okay, so it didn't work because it's done the update before the list is complete, I think. Think about this. What have I missed here? I think I've missed something. Okay, so it would come into here and do the start Robotron. Start Robotron would go to here, which would set the spawn list up. Oh, I see what's happening. Then it's coming in here. It's not flashing, so it goes into Robotron update. And then the very first thing it does is check the spawn count. Okay, so it's almost there, but what I need to do is on the very first here. So I do it in the start Robotron. So at the end of here, I need to do it's still going into it though. Why is it getting into that? All right, let's take a look at the values then. Let's see what's going on. The list should be definitely getting filled in, but I want to check these values here. So I'm just going to put A91E. All right. Oh, I need to actually get into the screen first, don't I? so okay, so we can see the list has definitely got those 3 values in. We've got the type of 1 and the quantity is 12. And then 8 steps on, we have these values which have not been set. Okay. Now, is that because we haven't called... Well, spawn mustn't have been called at this point. Wait, load X. Oh. It should be that. There we go. Okay, the player disappears, but we do have the things in there. So, oh shit. Oh yeah, that's kind of working fine now. I mean, I'm dying a lot, but it's working. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can actually complete this screen though now. It's actually a lot harder than it looks, that screen. Okay, the player doesn't appear. That's a bit of a worry. We'll figure out what that is. I think it's probably because the player is flashing invincible at that point. I think they also need to spawn not near the player, so we might have to do a check to make sure they don't spawn too close to the player. Otherwise, it's just instant death. So, and there we go. We've got the end condition. Okay, so it kind of almost works. All right, so a couple of things. One, if I go into that screen while I'm invincible, I think it's because I'm invincible. Let's just check. If I wait. Between CPU and drive memories in Vice mode. I don't know if it's possible in Vice. It's definitely possible in the debugger. I'm sure of that. In the C64 debugger, but I don't think it's possible in Vice. Not that I know of, anyway. I don't know. To be honest, I'm no expert in the monitor interface, so I couldn't be sure. Okay, I think one thing I'm going to do is if you move into a new screen, it's going to turn your invincibility off. So if you're on if you respawn on a screen, fine. But if you move into a new screen, it should turn your invincibility off, which will solve one little issue there. So let's do that quickly. Where's the maps? Where's maps? Here it is. Map loader. Here we go. Is it this one? Next screen. That's the one. All right. So that should prevent the player from flashing when you move into a new screen, which should mean we should be able to display. I know you can set breakpoints on. I'm pretty sure you can display the code on the thing. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I guess actually comparing them would be the problem. I guess that's what you're saying. Is there a command to do a kind of a binary compare between the two? I'm not entirely sure. Okay, that's looking pretty good. The thing we do need to do, though, is stop them from spawning near the player. So it's a good job we've got this loop in here. I think what we need to do is when it goes to spawn them. Oh, actually, no, it doesn't matter because they have the little thing that comes in. They have this is why they have the animation that comes in. So that's fine. Okay, cool. In that case, we're almost there. Let me just double check that I didn't check that the the invincibility is cancelled when you go into the new screen. I think it was, but yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, but you see, you die so quickly there. But they will spawn in, so you won't see them like that. They will spawn in. So let's have a think about how to do that. So to make them spawn in, we need to use sprites here to do this. I can't think of another way of doing this. Now, these sprites are going to be probably similar to this circle, right? We're going to have, at least think about how best to approach this. We've got plenty of room for sprites. We can do a lot of stuff with the sprites here. So what normally happens is there's a big kind of circle that zooms in. But obviously we can't draw a massive circle like that. Not in a game frame anyway. Well, we can do it. I mean, obviously we can do it. We could build it out of all sorts of things, sprites, or we could draw over the characters. We could composite it like that. We need to do it quickly while lots of stuff is going on. So I think the best thing to do here is to do a kind of cut down version of that. So there is, when they spawn, there's a little red flashing hazard sign. So I think what we'll do is we'll flash a little hazard sign in that position for a couple of seconds and then spawn. And if we stagger the updates out a little bit, we won't run out of sprites when we do this. So I think what we'll do is we'll go and have a look at the GitHub for this and see if I can find that hazard sign thing, and we'll just make a sprite out of it. So let's have a look. Assets. Actually, didn't I already save this in one of the folders? Pretty sure I saved this in a folder somewhere. Let me just check. Yeah, I thought I had. Okay, so we're looking for a hazard sign. There it is. So we're going to recreate this. Now, this has got some padding on the sides, so it's going to look like this instead. Oops. Because it has 2 pixels of padding on each side, I believe. So that's what we're going to create. And let's have a look. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I mean, it's 16 by 16, isn't it? So that's fine. So we're going to create that in this sprite here. It just needs to be a simple sprite. It is going to flash. We'll flash it between red and white. And what we'll do is we'll set a timer, and the timer can be anywhere from whatever the minimum time that this will flash for, which I think should probably be about 2 seconds or something. So that's 100 frames. So the minimum value will be 100, and then each spawn after that will be a few extra, up to 255. So if we make it like 10 frames for each one, that means they'll stagger out. As you'll probably reduce it to a second and a half, actually. Thank you, Bog Fortier. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so let's make this non-multicolor. Let's just draw it first, and then we can set the position afterwards. So let's do it in sprite mode. So let's just put the grid on this. It's a bit easier to see if I put a grid on. Problem is the grid's going to be massive, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Let's set the grid settings. It's easier for me to count then. Don't have to rely on my terrible eyesight to figure it out. So we're removing the circles, but we are leaving the kind of warning signs in, which are the kind of bit that says, get out of the way, something's going to spawn here in a second, which is the bit that we're interested in. As you saw, if we don't have that in, then the player is going to very quickly kind of run into trouble. Okay. Okay, let's center that. Actually, should it be centered or should it be top there? Oh, let's make it center anyway. We just change it later. 3, 3, yeah, center. So it isn't quite. Oh, yeah, it is actually. It's 15 by 16. Okay, 16 by 15 anyway. Thanks for your content. Hello. Yeah, you're very welcome. Welcome along to the channel. Hope you enjoy your stay here. Lots of crazy people here. Mostly gambling addicts. Gambling addicts and jokers. Or I like to think they're jokers, but not always so funny. So okay, right, let's go with that. Set the color, it doesn't really matter. It's going to flash between red and white anyway to indicate that there's something here. And we'll save that out, and then I think we need to export that as a binary. So it's export sprite set. Cannot remember for the life of me where these go. Could be anywhere. I think it's this one here. There we go. Okay, and what value is that at? So that's sprite 34, so that will be 74 in terms of sprite pointers. Okay, so that means we need a new value in here in the Robotron data. So we have type, we have the old type, that's fine. We have an update index, did update position. Okay, yeah, so we're going to have we'll put a spawn timer in here. And that's going to be filled with this value. Now, what we'll do with a spawn timer is as we're spawning these, we'll have a value that we keep adding to. So we're going to create another one of these. I'm going to call it spawn timer like that, and it's going to be gtemp2. And we're going to start by setting that to let's set it to 60, which is about 2 seconds. So let's actually reduce that. Let's make it let's make it that. It's just over 1.5 seconds, so it should be enough time to get out of the way. It's supposed to be kind of intense. You're supposed to be save as. What do you mean save as? Oh, you're on about something in the you're on about memory compare stuff. Right? Oh, you're on about ASCII. Anyone have any info on exporting ASCII data in a new format or convert to another format? Yeah, save as should be able to do it to convert to a particular different format. So if you save a file as an ASCII file, you can use, there are lots of libraries out there that will allow you to read the data from that file quite easily, all the different layers and palettes and things like that. Then you can set it however you want. So I would recommend, if you take a look at my ASE pass in the Mega 65 tools, there's an example in there. It's not very neat, I will tell you that now. It's very much work in progress. It was only ever really meant to be something I was using, but I decided to share it because it is kind of useful for people. Or you can write plugins. So what ASE Pass does is it takes the original ASCII file, it reads it and converts it into files for the Mega 65. But you can also write plugins. So if you take a look at Monster Go Boom's repository, they've got some scripts, some Lua scripts in there that will create a kind of export thing in your options. So I can show you what they look like in here. So if I go scripts like this, you can create these little windows that decide how to do things and export. I would say probably the Lua approach is a bit easier, but it's less flexible, if you get what I mean. You can't really build it into the build process as such. There is a way to launch those scripts from the command line, but I think it's a little bit broken. at the moment. But it may have been fixed recently. I don't know, but I know it was broken when I last looked at it. But I prefer the script approach, the kind of external script approach, because I can quickly kind of blend it into what I'm doing in my build process. Okay, so we're storing a value in the spawn timer here, and now what we need to do is anytime we spawn one of these, try and add. Hopefully that returns an index. Returns it returns the next index. That's annoying. Oh shit, that is very annoying. Okay, well, well, we can do this if we do this first. Then it's going to return X. Okay, I just want to make sure that when it returns, the value it returns allows me to edit it. So that should fix that. Then all we need to do here is take our spawn index value, spawn timer value, sorry, and store that at data dot spawn timer, comma X. And then we need to add a value to this. So we've got the value already in the accumulator. I kind of feel like we might need the clear carry here. So I'm going to move the clear carry to here. So the clear carry will well, no, it shouldn't matter either because this shouldn't go over. But I am going to put it in there because I don't trust myself. So, and then I'm going to put this is going to be a constant value, I think. So I'm going to go and add this to the constants, and I'm going to call this Robotron Spawn Stagger. So this is how many frames it's going to stagger each one. So we'll do 16 frames stagger between each one for now and see how that works. 12 times 16 is 192 plus our original timing value up here, which is 50. It's not going to work, is it? Okay, let's change that stagger then. Constant's gone. Let's change it to 12. 12 times 12 is 144 plus our original 80 is 224. Okay, so there we go. Save that constant, copy it so I know the name of it. Okay, so now we have spawn values that tell us how we're spawning. So now what we need to do is we need to make sure that we change the way we update these things. So if we go to update something, wherever it's going to be, let's have a look. So when we do the update, we do this. We calculate the entity data and we draw. But what we really need to do before we do that is we need to load the accumulator. Oh, hang on. Calculate entity data, draw. Okay, right. We need to do it separate in each one of these. So calculate entity data is this one here. And this is the update index. If type is 0, entity. Okay, so this is where we need to do it. So we'll do a little check in here. So first of all, we'll do this one's first, and then we'll do this one. All right, so let's add a thing in here. So if entity is spawning, skip. If it is equal to 0, then we can carry on. Otherwise, we need to jump to the exit. But before we jump to the exit, we need to decrease this value. Hopefully I can do that with... Never remember if I can do these with indexes or not. I think I can. I'm losing parts of my manual. I think it's just the Y register you can't do it with. Yeah, it's just the Y register. Okay, so that's good. So we decrease that spawn timer, otherwise we jump to exit. So this is going to make sure that they don't immediately appear. So if we do this now, what we should see is them appear in a staggered fashion. Oops, let's get on the right screen. Right, so they should appear in a kind of staggered fashion. No, they didn't. They appeared all at the same time. Okay, let's destroy everything. Maybe it's to do with the... Oh, why's that one not dying? There we go. No, they just all appear, don't they? But they don't move. Ah, that's because they're drawing. That's why. Okay, so if we look in our draw routine, we need to do the same thing. So here we loop through the entities and we check the type, and then we do some drawing. So we'll do this the same kind of check here. So we'll do if entity is spawning, divert to sprite routine. So again, we'll check later. We'll do data.type, comma x, not type, sorry, data dot spawn timer, x, and if that's equal to 0, then we can just carry on with spawn. Otherwise, for now, we'll just jump to skip, but we will actually change this to draw sprites in a second. I just want to see if they appear in a kind of staggered loop. So, take care, Proton. Thanks for joining. 20 minutes. I should be able to do this in 20 minutes, I think. Okay, they didn't stagger up here, but let's kill this lot. I think it's just because this lot are spawning before we're ready, so... We just got one. Okay, that didn't work, did it? Okay, okay, so there's two issues here. Firstly, when we first come in the screen, spawn timers are still going down, so... let's have a look. So we start the screen by calling spawn, but we're still flashing at that point. So let me just do a border increment here. It should hopefully stick. I can't remember if I've reset the border to black anywhere, but I might be. Okay, no, they just suddenly appear. That's annoying. Am I storing it right? Data spawn timer, comma x. Have I got everything right here? Oh, wait. Wait. I see what I've done wrong. All right. It'll be there like that. That's the loop, not the thing. Let's just tap that in a bit. All right, cool. I should fix that. What's going on there? That's... Oh. Oh. I think I know what's happening there. that's because in the calculate entity data, which is actually doing it, they don't update all the same. Have you sent me more series? All right. Are they a bit smaller this time? I know what's happening here anyway. So basically what's happening in the is it calculate entity data, this thing here, which is doing the countdown for the spawn timer. The spawn timer is only happening because only one or two of these is updating per frame. So what that means is the spawn is really slow because it's slowed right down by about 10 times or so. So it means they take about 10 seconds to spawn. So I just need to move that into the draw routine instead, which happens every frame for every character. So this one here, if it's equal to 0, it goes here. Otherwise, we decrease the spawn timer. There we go. That should make them spawn a bit quicker now. Thank you, Kahim. I will try and add them before the weekend. Should be pretty simple task, I think. Okay, cool. That's working. So the only thing they don't have at the moment is they don't have anything to display when they are spawning in. But you can see they are actually spawning in. There is some glitches. I see a glitched thing there, so we need to figure that out. Okay, but not bad, not bad. All right, we're getting there. So that means most of the routine is right, but all we have to do now is at this point here, we need to restore, keep X the same, and jump to draw as spawn sprite. Now, what this means I need to do is I need to set some sprite counters up at the beginning here and make sure that all the sprites are clear other than the ones. Actually, no, that's kind of fine, isn't it? Okay, this is actually going to be quite easy. So all I need to do in here is create spawn sprite in here. Then I'm doing comma X there. Thinking there. So what draw as spawn sprite is going to do? The first thing it's going to do is it's going to take spawn sprite, comma X. If that's not equal to 0, it's going to jump ahead. Otherwise, what it's going to do is it's going to go to multiplexer get next free sprite. I need to go and clear that other value out here. Now, get next free sprite is going to use X and it is going to use Y. So you need to, it restores Y, but it doesn't restore X. And that's because actually it returns in the accumulator though. So let's actually make that restore X as well. Okay. So we're going to call this, which is going to return as a value in the accumulator. Let's get rid of this function. Just comment it out for now. Oh, we've got 13 minutes. I think we can still do this. And that will be stored at data spawn sprite, comma X, right? So now we have a value in the spawn sprite to say that we are still spawning at this point. Okay. So then what I need to do is I need to take the value. What was it? Am I in this massive mode? I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, there we go. 34, so 74, which is our spawn sprite. multiplexer dot data dot frame. Transfer that into the Y register. So now we've got a frame set. Now we just need to set a position and a color. So we'll start by setting a color. So we'll do the color by grabbing the value in spawn timer. Now the color needs to be either white or red. So what we'll do is we'll set it to we'll AND this value first of all with a power of 2. We'll do 1 0 for now. Well, let's do 0 8. And so that's going to give us either 0 or 8. So now we just need to shift this all the way down to 1. So if it's 8, we need to shift it to the right to make it 4, to make it 2, to make it 1. So now we have 0 or 1. And then we can just add 1 to it. Now we've got 1 or 2. And we store that at so we don't need to set the X and Y because we can do that here. So when we set these values here, let's do that here. So the Y is set there, and then we'll set that there, and then we don't need that, and then we can use the accumulator all we want up here. Then you see. Okay, so we can now grab our entity position. Now, the entity position is in a weird format, so we do need to convert that, but we do have the routines that do that somewhere down here. So, remember where it is. Is it that one? Check charts and char y minus borders. Okay, that's the player position. So we need to actually convert it ourselves. Okay, so we're going to take our char x and char y range from 0 to 39. We're stored as times 4, so we only need to move this value once to the left to get the sprite position. So 10 minutes. I can do this. Where's it gone? So let's do the y first because the y is super easy, right? So data dot char y, and we just shift this to the left, and we'll store that at that's right. So that's correct. There will need to be an adjustment so that it centers on the character. At the moment, it's not centered, so we'll need to do that in a second, which will just be actually we can do that quite quickly now. So if the character is spawning in an 8x8 grid and the sprite is spawning in a 24x21, then we need to move it to get to 4x4. So if we take half of the width and half of the height, let's say the height is 10 and the width is 12 in that case, minus the 4 that we need to be, so that would be 8 and 6. So we need to subtract 6 from this one. So it's going to set the Y position. Okay, now the X is a little bit trickier because with the X we need to take into account the most significant byte as well. So we need to take into account byte 9 here, bit 9, sorry. So we do the same thing again. We will double it, but before we do the subtraction, we need to make sure that we store. Actually, let's do the subtraction first before we do that. So we needed to subtract. Is it 12 minus 4, 8, 10 minus 4, 6. So we need to subtract 8, but we've only got a half value in here already, so we'll just subtract 4 from this. Okay, now we have the value that we can double. and that will give us the sprite position, and doing so will set the carry flag here. So we need to, first of all, we need to store the result that we've got in xpos, and now we need to set the MSB. So the easiest way to do this is load the accumulator with 0 and add 0. What that's going to do is if the carry flag is set, it's going to set it to 1. If it's not, it's going to set it to 0. And then we just store that in XMSB up here. And we should see the sprite appear then. Now, the only thing we need to do is we need to make sure that when the sprite is finished, so when this value has finished, that we actually reset we reset that sprite to not appear anymore. So the way we're going to do that is quite simple. We'll do a check at the very top up here. Because it happens as soon straight after this here. So we'll just check that value, which I think we check at the top anyway, which we do, yeah. If it's not equal to 0, we jump ahead and go and do all of this. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to take the value 0, store that at where did I do the color? Oh, I did do it down here, right. And then I think ypos to ff is the other one we need to do. And then we can immediately exit because we don't need to actually draw it. We're just going to remove it from the frame by doing this, so we don't need to do any of this. Okay, I think that should be it. Let's have a look. I'm sure there's going to be an error in here somewhere. I'm actually having a decent night tonight. Take care, Warlock. Hope you're doing well. Have a good day. Hope you're doing well. Have a good day. I didn't make any sense. Have a good day, I meant. Yeah, I'm going to finish in about 5 minutes anyway, so. Okay, so not seeing anything. So it seems like that routine is not happening. So let's just check what's going on. Where was that border color change? First of all, let's find that. Check versus player. Oh, we need to get rid of that. That shouldn't be in there anymore. That one there. Okay. But what we care about is that the draw a spawn sprite is being triggered here. So it's not being touched. That's fine. So it should be doing that. Okay, let's have a look. I will finish this before I go to bed tonight because this is actually well, we'll still need to do the door opening and the prize spawn, but okay, so it is firing into this routine. Okay, so that's good. It means we're actually getting into here. So the question is it doing this or is it doing this? It should be doing this section here. Because that value should not be 0 until the very end. So what we should see here now is the border change color when things spawn. It could just be that we're not setting some values correctly in the multiplexer, but we'll take a look in a minute. All right, see the border color, the border did not change color then. So it's like this is never happening. Okay, so that's interesting. So draw a response, right? Let's have a look. If it's equal to 0, go here. Otherwise, we decrease the value in that location and we jump to this routine. This routine then grabs that value. If it's not equal to 0, it jumps to here, which should be incrementing the border, and it's not doing. Okay, so I would suspect that the value that we've got in here is, for some reason, 0, and it shouldn't be. Which might mean we're just not setting it correctly. One ball iron, yeah. Makes me sound like a coke addict. And the accumulator is indeed 0 at this point, and 0 and 0 and 0. So it's always coming in as 0. Okay, let's take a look why that might be. Let's leave the break in place because we want that. So what do we take? We take the spawn timer, and we decrease it. The break here. Because according to this, the value should not be 0. It should be, if we've got into that routine, it should be 1 or above. But it might just be 1 all the time for some reason. No, see, look, we've got a high value in here. But then for some reason, this seems to be breaking it. Is this broken for some reason? Okay, let's have a look where it's getting that from. So let's do a disassembly of so we are loading in, where is it? Spawn timer, X. Okay, so our X is on OC, so our X is on 12. Our address is A842, so let's go and have a look at A842. Okay, so you can see how they're all set out here. We have got 12 values here. I don't know why that's starting at, hang on. So Robotron is -1. Okay, but we've got D4 at this point, right? So if I just go back and have a look at this, so then we should do. So if I step one at a time. Okay, so now if I have a look at that area again, our value is at D3. Okay, so if we step into that routine, our X value is. Oh, I'm reading the wrong thing. Spawn timer. That's why. That's why I'm reading the wrong thing. That's all. So that should be like that, and that should be, oops, timer. Let's say if it's not equal to 0, then jump to here. If it is equal to 0, no, if it's, yeah, if it isn't equal to 0, jump here. Otherwise, if it is equal to 0, we need to do this, which is reset that sprite, basically. Okay, that should be fine now, I think. Let's try that. This could be perfect timing. And we'll go and find someone to raid. Let's see if it works first. Nope. Well, the values are there, but obviously I need to take the breakpoints out because it's not going to display very well if we're trying to break every single frame. Oh, we've got a jam. Okay, why have we got a jam? Interesting. B062. That's right in the middle of this code, isn't it? No, it's not. Interesting. Think about this. Jumps in here, does this routine. what is missing here? If I just did this, and oops, what did I do then? If I just do this RTS, what happens? Okay, so something in this lot is breaking it. I'm guessing it's that. It's got to be that get next sprite. I must be doing something stupid in here. Store X, rest X, store Y, rest X, rest Y. Yep. Transfer X to the accumulator. Yeah, okay. So that should be fine. X pos, Y pos should be fine. Okay, let's not set any of the sprite data. Let's just see if the act of grabbing the sprite is doing it. I think it might be. Why though, I don't know, but I think it might be. Oh no, it's not going to be because I put an RTS in here. Damn it. Oh, the chat's gone all funny. Am I still on? Looks like I'm on. Wait, why is that doing that? Hang on. Hang on. Small sprite, come on, Y. Oh, I think I've done something weird here. All right, let me undo this. I think I've just done something weird here. Let me think about the logic. Chat does that when it's quiet. Yeah, I do prefer the other chat I had on Tuesday. That was kind of nice. I like that. I just don't know how to make it work in this. Well, I probably could make it work in this stream, but I liked the way it worked. It didn't show the disconnect all the time and stuff. It was kind of nice. Okay, let's get rid of that. So what am I transferring to the Y register here? It should be the sprite index, which should be this thing, except it's not. So let's put that in there as well. And that's why there's an issue, because it's transferring a random value to the accumulator, which is overwriting in the multiplexer. That's why we're getting issues. Always make sure your index is within the correct range. Okay, it's kind of working, but they're appearing in the wrong places, I think. So let's just double check the logic on this, and then I think we're good. So let's have a look at the Y first. What am I doing? So I'm loading the char Y for this particular sprite. I'm doubling it, and then subtracting 6 from it and storing it in the Y position. So that just, I know why. Because what I also need to do is add the border on as well. 3.2 actually. Then char X, I need to do similar thing on here. So what I'm going to do is, actually, I'm going to do this before I do anything else. So I'm going to do it here like this. So I'm going to add, so this is half value. So I'm going to add half of this value on, which is 1, 9. And then I'm going to do the same on here as well, which is adding. Now I can include the subtraction here as well. So if I add the border, which is 24, half of it, which is 12, but subtract 4 from that. So if I just add 8, I don't need to do the subtract here at all. Hey, I'm not sure what you're saying. It looks, I'm going to say Italian. That's Italian. I know. I can recognize Italian. Friend. Oh, I don't know what that word means, but welcome anyway, Andrew Soma. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. We're about to end though in a few minutes. I just want to get this bit working. So, oh, that worked quite well actually. I liked that. It did seem to hit a limit on the number of sprites on this screen, but that's because we've got this one here. We've got this limited here. So if I set this to 15, it should fix that. So we need 12 to display. So, yes. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on, but okay. Spanish. No, I think that's. Oh yeah, maybe Spanish. My hubris over it being Italian has been revealed, because I think you're right. I think that might be Spanish. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, that's better. Look, they're all spawning properly now. Oh, actually, that wasn't quite right, was it? And also, I'm turning different colors now. Oh, okay, something weird going on. Well, I think that's probably enough for tonight. We've got the basics of it working. We can finish it off next time. I thought it was going to be a bit quicker than that, but obviously not. But good progress either way tonight. We've done pretty well. So is petrol. I'm pleased we've got quite a lot of bugs sorted. I'm feeling a lot more confident with the code now. It seems to be relatively solid. To raid. Who's on? Who's on? Let's raid. Yeah, let's raid Tonda. It's Tonda playing Sonic. It's playing Sonic CD. Awesome. All right, we'll raid Tonda. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I shall see you all on Saturday. Remember, there is going to be Marbles on Stream, exciting prize draw giveaway on Saturday. So have a look through the Bitmaps off site, see if there's anything on there that interests you, and just you don't need to be subbed or anything to the channel for this one. It's just going to be a little test run to make sure it works. Just going to give away to one random viewer any game on the Bitmaps off site. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be doing the Mega 65 kart racer. Let me start the raid. Helps if I actually press the buttons. But yeah, so thank you for coming along tonight, and I shall see you all soon. And Proton, if you're still listening, which I don't think you are because you're going for a nap, I will get your Meg 65 ready for you relatively soon, probably Monday. Okay, take care, guys. See you later.